For those of you that don't know me, that are new to this space today, I'm Father Brett, and I am trained actually as a clinical chaplain. And my time as a chaplain began with clinical pastoral education, which is the backbone, the bedrock of our professional understanding and our professional ability. On my first night, as a very young chaplain, having no knowledge of what I was about to do other than having started the classes that work with this. So it's a class and it's a practical education, meaning that I'm in school part of the time and I'm in the hospital with people the other part of the time. On my very first night there, called to work the night shift, just training, so I had a colleague with me. I hear alarms going off. People start running. This is an education hospital, so there are many doctors there. Doctors come running in. Somebody's dying. That's heavy stuff. That's heavy stuff. I'm taken aback looking at this scene of doctors and nurses calling out different things that mean nothing to me. You might as well be speaking gibberish. But they're doing all this heavy, hard, intense work. And then I turn and look, and just more appalled or in awe than me, standing 10 feet to my left, is the husband of this lady. You can imagine how intense this would be for him to see it, if we think about how intense it would be for us to see it ourselves, not being related to that person. And then in that moment I realized, I looked at him and I saw the face of a man in tears, struggling, and it called me into action. I remembered that I'm not just here for patients, I'm here for their families. And so I stand next to him, I start talking to him, and he tearfully tells me, "Father, she was such a good person. She is such a good person. I don't think she's going to make it, and I'm afraid that she's not going to go to heaven. She didn't believe in God, but she was a good person." And I turn to him and I say, in CPE language, which is reflective, what does it mean to you if God is going to send somebody not to heaven that was a good person? Is that a God that we worship? Posing that question to you all, I think it's important to ponder that when that belief creeps up on us. What kind of God would do that? Perhaps instead of an orientation of God like that, we need, that maligns people. Billions of people don't believe the same way we do. Now I'm going to take it just a sidestep here to the reading from Jeremiah today. Jeremiah is lamenting people that are formerly his friends and now his enemies, celebrating his failures. Raise your hand if you don't find yourself occasionally enjoying the failure of people that hurt you. You see, it's a natural human inclination. Paul tells us in the reading today there are natural human cycles to things. Our understanding of original sin, it's not that babies are sinful. It's that there's something to this human condition that we naturally are inclined to believe we're better than others, that the way we understand things is the right way, and that the way we experience life is the only way to experience life. But Jesus tells us in the reading today that those who did not know him, you say to me, Father, won't go to heaven. Well, I respond with another gospel reading where Jesus says, there will be many who say they knew me and they did not. So what does it mean to know Jesus if he says there are people who will have never met me that will know me, and yet there are people that know me that will have never met me? It means that Jesus is calling us into action. Action. You shall know me by my fruits, the fruits of which is love. So love, compassion, these are the steps toward God. And as I stepped toward this gentleman, offering an arm over his shoulder, there's nothing I can do. I remembered that sometimes all we need to do is offer a compassionate presence, offer a shoulder to cry on, someone to talk to. How often do we turn our backs to those around us that are experiencing difficulty because it reminds us of our own humanity and difficulty? So I'm not calling you this week to give up everything that belongs to you and follow Jesus accordingly. Instead, I'm calling you to have a conversation with somebody who feels cast aside. Somebody who is giving you the signs of the man here before me, but in different ways. It's not a catastrophic situation. It's many, many little situations that have built up over time, and they don't feel welcome anymore. They don't feel loved anymore. How can we call people to follow Jesus if, as followers of Jesus, we don't show love? Love is what it's all about. I charge you folks to understand the most important piece of this, which is that those who are experiencing religion different than us are still people. And they deserve love. Jesus didn't say, love your neighbor when it's convenient. Jesus said, love your neighbor. And so to offer one last bit of information about what it means to be a chaplain and what it means to be a follower of Jesus, I'll tell you that when Jesus says to turn the other cheek, he's not telling you to be a doormat. I'm not telling you to be a doormat today. What I'm telling you to do is when somebody hurts you, don't celebrate their failures. Offer them feedback with I statements. I felt this when you did that. Come in Christian community together and rebuild the relationship as best you can. Offer people the knowledge that sometimes they are without, that what they're doing is hurting people. Jesus tells us to turn the other cheek, but it didn't say you can't do it with some feedback. Amen?
Amen.